Welcome into This is Baseball. My name's Brandon. Happy June. We're officially at that point in the season where it's kind of this unofficial date that a lot of people put into their calendars of let's wait until June 1st to see where this team's at or where that player's at. Is my team for real? Are they contenders? Are they pretenders? We've officially reached that time of year. So let's kind of see how everything is going so far this season. So let's just get some of the obvious stuff out of the way this season. I think it is June 1st, or it's June, and I have not talked about the Dodgers much. I have not talked about Shohei Ohtani much. Shohei Ohtani, reigning MVP of the National League, looking like he's just going to try and win it again for what would be the fourth time in his career. 23 home runs is tied with Aaron Judge, his .293 batting average, .388 on base, which is an unbelievably impressive season so far in this early part of June. But on the other side of the league, the two-time MVP and reigning MVP Aaron Judge is having a historic year. I spent some time on him a few weeks ago just highlighting what he's done, and yeah, he's under the 400 mark now. He's batting .396 as I record this episode. I mentioned he's got 23 home runs, 95 hits already, 55 RBIs, and a .493 on-base percentage. I cannot explain to you how insane it is that Aaron Judge gets on base in just under half of his plate appearances. So through 288 plate appearances, that's a .493 on base percentage. And yeah, that leads the league easily. So very much on his way to an unanimous MVP. What's crazy about Aaron Judge is earlier in the year, he was leading in the Triple Crown category. He still has the league lead for batting average, but he's 3 behind American League home run leader Cal Riley in Seattle. He's their catcher, having a phenomenal season as well. Rafael Devers is leading the league, the American League, with in RBIs with 57. That's just 2 ahead of Aaron Judge. And Rafael Devers is having a weird year himself, kind of refusing to play in certain spots. And the other day he hits a ground ball and then just straight up stops when he had the potential to be safe. Weird year for him. He's still having a great year, but it's the tension between Devers and the Red Sox is odd. But while there are players that are having really good seasons and we can highlight them, there's also some stuff that just isn't quite going away. I've talked about it as well, where there have been 3 managers to be fired this season already, which is 3 managers to get fired before June is a huge rarity. And two of the managers that got fired, you're not surprised about. Bud Black, who was leading the Colorado Rockies, got let go back in May, and they've won all of 5 games since he left. So clearly it wasn't a Bud Black issue, but a team issue. That Rockies currently sit at 12-53, trying to give the 2024 Chicago White Sox a run for their money for the worst regular season record of all time. The 2024 White Sox went 41-121 to take over the 1962 New York Mets long-standing record of 40-120. The Rockies have managed to go on a 3-game win streak in June, so that's good, but they're basically averaging 4 wins a month. So they've got one more to win in June. I think they can do that over 20 days. And then, so they win 4 in July. That puts them at 16 wins, 20 wins in August, 24 wins in September. I really hope that the Rockies can win more than 24 or 25 games through the course of a regular season, because, I mean, I just said it, 41 and 21 and 121 is the worst record. If you win 25 games, you're shattering a record. That's like NBA bad of levels. You've seen NBA teams that are just, how have you only won 10 games over an 82 game schedule? So I don't know. I don't want MLB to do that. It's a really bad look for the league to have the White Sox break the record for worst record ever last year, and then the Rockies come in this year and blow it out of the water. And even if the Rockies level out a little bit, whatever that means, I still think that they're at least going to be flirting with all-time worst team, and having that in back-to-back seasons is just not okay. We've got to get some of that corrected. I mean, just looking back at the Nolan Arenado stuff and how his handling went down, it's just, I think Colorado can be I think Denver can be a great baseball town. It's one of my favorite parks, and you got to figure it out. We can't be doing what we're doing and think it's okay. Figure it out, Colorado. So, next manager that was fired, Derek Shelton, Pittsburgh Pirates. The only thing exciting in Pittsburgh is Paul Skeens, watching him pitch, and at this rate, he's not long for the club. Derek Shelton, kind of similar to Bud Black, just kind of in a situation where what is he really expected to do with what he's been given? Now, the Pirates are a significantly better team than the Rockies. Obviously, that's a pretty low bar given everything that I said. The Rockies are 26 and 14. They're the third worst team in the National League. The Marlins are second worst, which that's another team that, my goodness, you've had 2 good years in your franchise's history. But anyway, it's gonna take a change at the top for the Pirates and for the Rockies. A change in culture, ownership's got to change, front office has got to change, and it'll trickle down. And that's what you need. But until all of that happens, you're stuck here in this never-ending cycle of, I was going to say mediocrity, but that would be too nice. Just really bad baseball. And if you're the Rockies in the National League West, it's not like it's going to just get any easier for you. You have 4 teams that are pretty competitive. The Diamondbacks have fallen off a little bit, but it's a 3-team race right now in the West. The Dodgers, Padres, and Giants. The Padres and Giants are just a game behind the Dodgers right now, and we already know that the Dodgers are going to be good for the next 10 to 15 years, and they don't plan on slowing down anytime soon. I've said it a lot. I think they are just beginning a dynasty potentially, so at least figure out a way, if you can't compete in the division, if you're the Rockies, be a wild card team. There's 3 slots available there. Same with the Pirates. Cubs are good again. Cardinals have kind of surprised me this year and figured out a way to not be completely awful. Through June, I am completely wrong on my read on the St. Louis Cardinals. I expected them to be awful. They're in it. They're 4 back in the Central. Brewers, respect them as well. Team that's just a perennial contender. Right in the mix as well. The National League East is interesting. Speaking of the Marlins, Braves got off to that horrible start and have really never recovered. They're 10 games under 500. But that doesn't help that the Mets are the best team in baseball, 42-24. That's the second best record. It's the best record in the National League, but second best record in all of baseball behind the Detroit Tigers. And when you have the Mets playing like they are, paired with the Phillies, who are still a good team, you're going to be on the outside looking in. This is such a weird year. And because I expected the Dodgers, and I say this like the Dodgers aren't playing well. They're really good. They're 3 games behind the Mets as far as being the best team. But the Dodgers, as far as division winners go, have the 3rd best record. Mets lead at 42-20. 42-24. Cubs are 40-25, and then 39-27. I would have expected the Dodgers to have 45 plus wins by now at least. And we're just kind of sitting here waiting for the postseason because they have a 15-game lead in the National League West at this point. But you got to give credit to the Padres and Giants for what they've accomplished, especially the Giants. I'm not surprised the Padres are there. Talked about them. They're kind of the team that maybe they won't win the division, but they're set up to compete. And what Buster Posey is doing with the Giants is incredible. A nice turnaround for a team that we all know in the 2010s went on a dynasty. But Buster Posey's put together a nice team and has them right in the mix. So is it a foregone conclusion that the Dodgers win the West? Right now, it's not. And that's actually, to me, it's good for baseball that the West is competitive because you don't want to have massive leads and divisions unofficially wrapped up this early in the season. Let's look at the American League for just a few minutes, though, because I actually kind of strayed away from my point of managers that have been let go. I want to get back to that and talk about Baltimore Orioles. They let go Brandon Hyde earlier in the season, kind of around the same time that Derek Shelton and Bud Black got let go. And this was the one team I stated that the Rockies and Pirates were not competitive. The Orioles are clearly in their competitive window, winners of the American League East 2 years ago, and then wild card berth last year, had literally zero success, 0 wins through those 2 playoff appearances, and they currently sit in the basement of the American League East, 13 games out of first place, 26-38. Didn't quite expect Brandon Hyde to be let go this early. I did think that he would get an opportunity to at least get into the playoffs, and maybe if they were unsuccessful again in advancing in a round, he would be let go. But he came in and were awful, largely due to pitching. Baltimore has some of the worst pitching in all of baseball, so that's a huge contributor to that. What's funny, though, is they are playing good baseball right now. They're 7-3 in their last 10. But balance has been restored in the American League West. Mariners are faltering a little bit. I expected that to happen. And the Astros have moved their way back up the standings, and they have a 2.5 game cushion in the West now. So the Astros are leading that division. I'm going to pretend to be shocked that the Astros found their way back to the top of the standings in the West. That's just what they've done since 2017, is go to American League championships and win American League West division titles. So here we are again. And lastly, American League Central. I have to give my props to the Detroit Tigers, as much as it pains me as a Royals fan. 19 games over 500, 43-24. Kind of doing what I expected. Actually, they're exceeding what I thought the Royals would do, but they're ahead of the Royals at this point, and I had kind of paired the Tigers and Royals together over the last couple of seasons, just as far as the rebuild and where they are and being competitive. And last season, both got wild card berths together. This was the season to step forward and make a run for the division. Detroit has done that and then some. I think if I was going to say that a division was wrapped up, it would be the American League Central. They got a 7-game lead over the second place Minnesota Twins, who went on a 13-game winning streak earlier in the season, but 43-24, basically unstoppable at home, 23-9 in Comerica Park. But with the Royals, just pitching is phenomenal. Top 3 pitching staff in all of baseball, and just cannot figure it out offensively. You're starting to see some positives, though. Bobby Witt Jr.'s good, still great, even, and unfortunately has that guy in New York and Aaron Judge that's going to steal MVPs from him for years to come. I think Bobby's having a great season, though. He's had obviously a lot of pressure being one of the few productive players on the roster. He's hitting .291, 8 home runs, 37 RBIs with .349 on base percentage. He's leading the league in doubles and stolen bases. He has 22 doubles and 21 stolen bases. So continuing to do his thing there. Vinny Pasquantino has been picking it up as of late as well. And the big thing is getting Salvador Perez to be productive. I've seen a lot of people that are kind of calling for his head at this point. I think he's earned the right to stink in the lineup and still be put in the lineup. He has a 14-year resume of value and obviously isn't having a great year this year. I know he struck out 4 times the other day and keeps swinging at that slider that is low and outside. It is frustrating without Salvador Perez. He's been doing it for years. If you look at the walk-off that he had in the wild card game, it was a bad pitch low and outside that he put down the third base line. Here we are. It's just who he is. He's not going to change at the age of 35. Jeez, 45. But the most exciting thing, I think, is the call-up of Jack Caglione, who is going to hopefully be here for years to come alongside Bobby Witt Jr. and maybe Vinny Pasquantino if they choose to extend him, which I'm kind of up in the air with Vinny Pasquantino. I think it'll be a good idea to have him, but we need health, which he's had, and we need to, just put a complete healthy season together. But Jack Caglione gets called up last week, makes his MLB debut against the St. Louis Cardinals on the road. He's had 25 at-bats, 6 hits through those 25 at-bats, has an RBI. But you got to let him come up and just figure some things out. You can't ask him to come up here and be the savior of the offense. That's not fair to him. You have guys that have been up here a while that need to do their part, and have Jack Caglione be an addition to your success and not the fix to your failures. So I think he's going to do just fine up here. He had a 4-hit day on Sunday against the Chicago White Sox, and he's going to make his home debut tonight against the New York Yankees, which is going to be a pretty awesome atmosphere because the Yankees draw a crowd anyway. So you pair the Yankees coming to town with the much anticipated Jack Caglione, who, by the way, was drafted less than a year ago by the Kansas City Royals, and he's already here. That tells you just how good he is. I know that I went over his stats last week when we heard the news of his call up, but played 50 games in the minors this season and had 9 doubles, 15 home runs, 56 RBIs, and was hitting .322 with a .389 on base percentage. So going to provide a lot of pop and hopefully just be a great piece in the meat of the order. Apparently he wears size 17 shoes as well, which is absolutely insane. I'm excited about the Royals, even though, yeah, maybe it's not quite where I thought that they would be at this point in the season, but I am trying to look at it with a different perspective of it is mid-June and the Royals are good enough to be mad about them in mid-June, because the Royals have been around for 56 years, and I would say that they've been absolutely awful for about 40 of those years. So it's nice that in 2024, we saw them get back to the postseason, and then in 2025, maybe they're not doing some of the things that we hoped that they would be doing so far this season, but pitching is there. I think the offense will get there, and they've still got a shot at the playoffs. But let's say that they don't make it. Hopefully they do. We are obviously wanting Chiefs football, and here in a month and a half, we'll be seeing training camp across the NFL, but we're not sitting here looking ahead and, man, when is that? When is training camp? Get us to training camp. Now it's at the deadline at the end of July or the beginning of August, whatever it is this year. It's the Royals need to go get a bat to help this offense. Go get an outfielder to help out the offense. They need to go get an arm for the bullpen. It's a really good place to be. I guess what I'm saying is, if you're frustrated about the Royals in June, not because they're just completely awful, but because they are supposed to be good and they are good, and they're just not quite doing some of the things that they need to be doing, that's a really good spot to be. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you on Thursday.